administration and the Gensler at the SEC, they just didn't like crypto. What I've said very often is simply this: we must innovate before we regulate. That means allowing innovation to happen here at home in the digital asset space is critical to American economic dominance across the globe. The good news is President Trump is leading the way to a crypto revolution, starting here at the Banking Committee, and that's why we've moved very quickly the Genius Act, focusing on the crypto world. That's how you get things done. It's passed through my committee in a bipartisan fashion. Next, market structure on its way to be heard in the committee, marked up, and I believe passed into law by August.
So with the Genius Act and the Stable Act, both of these crypto bills that have been proposed have two very different, distinct approaches. The Genius Act that he was just referring to is regarding dual registration, more flexibility for smaller issuers, CEO sign-offs instead of audits, whereas the Stable Act is tighter federal control, monthly audits, criminal penalties for false reports, and focuses on who can issue. For example, in the Stable Act, insured depository institutions, non-banks, and state-qualified entities can issue, whereas the Genius Act is IDIS, and both of these do have some overlap. Either way, this is extremely bullish for the crypto industry because both of them exclude stablecoins from securities laws. And as you guys already know, Trump just flipped the switch on crypto by repealing the DeFi broker rule, opening the door for real utility tokens like XRP to breathe. So no more handcuffs on the entire DeFi space. And by July 14th, we're going to see the Fedwire Fund Service completely transition over to the new ISO 20022 messaging standard, which is very bullish for the ISO compliant cryptocurrencies like XRP, Stellar Lumens, HBAR, Algorand, Cardano, XDC, and a few others. And overall just bullish for the rest of the industry as well too. And so over the past day, we've seen a lot of projects rebound to the upside, but everyone wants to know, when will XRP and when will the other altcoins that are in the title of this video make a rebound to the upside? Because when the tides rise, so do all ships. And when we see a breakout in Bitcoin, that I'll get into the price chart in a little bit, we'll more than likely see a breakout in altcoins. So here's what we're looking at on the XRP price chart. Obviously, since January, we've seen a pullback of 52%, but the price has rebounded from that low on the 7th of April, and we're sitting at roughly $2.08 right now. And so when XRP saw this first initial rally up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullish candles in a row, XRP topped out right here on the 2nd of December and experienced a quick pullback in the short term. And we also saw a bearish cross right here on the stochastic RSI on the weekly chart. And then we proceeded to see a bounce and a recovery for a higher high on the price chart by the 20th of January right here, whereas the stochastic RSI made a lower high on this indicator right here, which is a textbook bearish divergence. Now, bearish divergence just simply means that momentum has shifted over from bullish momentum to bearish momentum in the midterm, causing a lot of people to get out of the market the past 4 to 5 months. Now, if we look at where the stochastic RSI is at on the weekly chart, we are in oversold territory all the way down here at 5.5 and 4.4 for both the K line and the D line, which is actually a really good sign that XRP is due for a reversal to the upside. But right now, the trend is currently your friend, and XRP is in a downtrend, getting rejected, forming a lower highs. And so far since the 3rd of February, this wick right here is a lower low. So we are currently in a falling wedge right now. So the main thing that we need to see for XRP for a trend reversal is a clearing of a recent local high. And ultimately, that would be about $3 in my opinion for XRP. The high right here from the 24th of February to the 3rd of March on that weekly candle close, which is pretty much exactly where this candle body close happened right here on the 27th of January before the tariff news hit the market and dropped XRP all the way down to $1.77. So this would be the zone right here that I personally would want to see XRP clear and hold as support for a macro reversal on the weekly charts. Otherwise, we're going to be in a downtrend or a ranging market. Even if we come all the way back up and we break this descending resistance and do something like this and we come into this zone and XRP gets rejected from it, we'd still technically be in a downtrend if you draw from this higher high right here on the 20th of January where the wick was at, or if you're drawing from the candle body closes, a ranging market. So for us to go back into an uptrend, we need to clear this zone of resistance right here. And in order for that to happen, we would need to see Bitcoin breakout. Because looking at this chart right here, compared back to the last few bull market cycles, alt season only started when Bitcoin's dominance dropped. And currently looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we can see that Bitcoin's dominance is at 63.77%. So it's climbing higher and higher and higher. And looking at the stochastic RSI, the K line and the D line are at 198, pretty much as high as it can go. So at any moment now, I believe Bitcoin's dominance is going to top out over the next few weeks to the next few months, and we're going to see a rotation take place and eventually a bearish cross on the stochastic RSI. And when that happens and we confirm that bearish cross by passing below 80 right here for both the K line and the D line to confirm that bearish cross to the downside, then we'll see a great rotation take place. And that's what we saw happen all the way back here after the 28th of December. Now, we've been waiting for Bitcoin's dominance to drop for a while. A lot of people, myself included, thought that Bitcoin had topped out, at like 61%. When we saw this drop to 54%, we were going to consolidate right here before continuing to the downside. And we saw that bearish cross between the 28th of October and the 4th of November on the stochastic RSI, and it confirmed a bearish cross by dropping all the way down below 20. And if we pair this up with Total 2's chart, you can see at that exact same moment that Bitcoin formed a bearish cross on the weekly stochastic RSI, well, the Total 2, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, so the entire altcoin market, was right about here at about $888 billion. And we saw an explosion to the upside upwards of $1.67 trillion. So these two charts are inversely correlated. And what that means is when Bitcoin's dominance drops, we see liquidity flow out of Bitcoin and into either stable coins or altcoins. In this case, we saw a rotation into altcoins. And so what have we been seeing since the 2nd of December? Well, we've seen the entire altcoin market pull back rapidly. And this is actually one of the steepest pullbacks this entire bull run thus far, which tells me that we are due for a reversal and a bounce to the upside at some point after Bitcoin's dominance peaks out. And for further confluence here, you can see the stochastic RSI as well too for altcoins is at 10 right now and 6 for the K line and the D line. We just experienced a bullish cross below 20 in oversold conditions, and Bitcoin is getting ready to form a bearish cross on the weekly stochastic RSI above 80 because the K line's at 100, the D line's at 98. That's as high as we can possibly go over here on the left-hand side of the screen. So this is setting us up for an explosion for altcoins this summer, and you need to be ready for it. Bitcoin to the US dollar price chart with Bitcoin sitting at $85,000. The bull run is still intact because we are still in an uptrend since the bear market lows. I mean, you could draw this trend line and you guys can simply see that we just bounced off of it right here. And also simultaneously, we bounced off of the recent high from the 11th of March. So Bitcoin could theoretically drop even lower and still be all right. The zone to watch for is anywhere between $74,000, even all the way back here. Bitcoin could technically drop back to the high of November 2021 and still be all right. That's $69,000. Where we get into the trouble zone is if Bitcoin dropped anywhere below $69,000. This would be the area right here that would be the major danger zone, because if we saw further liquidations and sell-offs to the downside and we broke below this level, then a major rally going into this summer, bringing us back to levels that where we are right now is where we would see a lot of sell pressure. And in my opinion, if something like this were to happen, then the bull market would pretty much be over. But I personally don't think that's going to happen. The uptrend is still intact. Bitcoin formed a bullish cross all the way down here below 20 on the weekly stochastic RSI. And I think we're going to see a recovery rally happen here in the short term. Now, it doesn't mean there's not going to be volatility on the hourly or the daily, because we're looking at the weekly chart. But just looking at Total 2 right now, we're holding right above $837 billion. And we've been pulling back since the 2nd of December. So we have December, January, February, March, and pretty much 20 days into April. So nearly 5 months now of pulling back. So when we combine that with M2, Global Liquidity Index right here, and we pair that up with the chart right now, if we measure from the 30th of September when M2 peaked out right here to when Total 2 peaked out, it was about 63 days of an offset. And so as you guys can see right here, since the 6th of January, look at what M2 did on yellow, this yellow chart at the top of the screen right here. It broke out. And so if we were to just measure from that point where it rebounded to where it's currently at right now, that's about 98 days. So if we just take the 63-day offset right here from where we're at right now, Well, that brings us about to the 9th of June. If we take this out to like 90 days, or let's say 105 days, that brings us out to July. So could we see a massive pump going into May, June, or July? I think that's coming because everybody knows that the markets just don't go down forever. We're not just going to keep bleeding out to zero. Although anything's possible, but there's too much bullish fundamental news that's taking place from the administration making crypto more favorable, stablecoin regulation coming, you name it. We've just been in a liquidity crunch because Jerome Powell will not lower interest rates. But when that pivot comes, you best believe the sentiment is going to shift in the crypto market and you have to be ready. So the same people that were praying for better entry points around December and saying, I'll buy when the markets dip lower, well, now that the markets are lower, those people have left the markets and they're going to come back when the markets make a rebound, and they're going to be buying that recovery rally every single time. And then the elite of the world, the 1%, are going to be selling into that recovery rally, making money off new retail investors. So the key to separate yourself from those investors is to move independent from your emotions and learn how to read charts and look at the data. And that's why we created the Technical Analysis Essentials training. And if we look at the XRP, the US dollar price chart, with the stochastic RSI all the way down here at 5 and 4, that's actually great on the macro. And technically, we still could drop lower and this uptrend would still be intact for XRP because as you guys can see, the high all the way back here in 2021, if we measure from the candle body closes, is at roughly, $1.50, $1.60. Doesn't need to be 100% exact. And XRP could still even dip to like $1.34, which was the complacency stage high from the 9th of August all the way until the 8th of November of 2021. So that would be the zone that I'm watching for XRP to hold to still be all right. If Bitcoin dips even lower, then that's the zone that I would want to be accumulating more XRP because I would expect a bounce from that zone or a bounce from where we're at right now, one of the two. So we're going to be watching this zone like a hawk for XRP, depending on what happens with Bitcoin over the next few weeks. But overall, we're looking really good. Eventually, there will be a reversal to the upside on the stochastic RSI, and XRP will see a bounce from there.